Hello, American Patriots. Douglas Ducote here. Today's video is on freedom and what makes us the most free country on God's earth. But before we get into that video, if you're just joining me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you'll be notified of when the videos are up and posted, and join the rest of the American Patriots that come to my channel to see real news and not the fake BS that's being fed to you by people like CNN and MSNBC. So, let's jump right into this. Freedom. First off, freedom is not free. It never has been. It never will be. Brave men and women have fought for our rights and our freedoms to have what we enjoy today. My ability to be able to come to you with this video is because of their sacrifices, as well as your ability to enjoy the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, celebrate Easter, go to worship as you please, travel freely across the country. All of this is made possible by those that served in the United States military, our veterans, and even now in law enforcement all across this land that are enforcing the laws and trying to put away the criminal element of society that would like to eliminate you, the American person, the American people of our country, that don't care about your freedoms. They just care about what they can get away with. So I thought it would be a wonderful video to discuss those freedoms by bringing to you the accomplishments of President Trump with law enforcement, with our military, and with our veterans in just the time that he has been in office from day one to now, January 1st of 2019. And I hope that each of you are going into this new year feeling positive and happy and upbeat about what we have coming forward and where we're headed as American people. Law and order. This president has appointed more U.S. Circuit Court judges than ever before of his predecessors. He's followed through on the promise to nominate judges to the Supreme Court who will uphold the Constitution. He signed an executive order directing the Attorney General to develop a strategy to more effectively prosecute people who commit crimes against law enforcement officers. And that, my friends, is well needed. As you know, we have law enforcement officers getting hurt daily, and in some cases even hourly. And sadly, some are being killed. And those that are responsible need to be held accountable. He saw to it a launching of an evaluation of a grant program to make sure they prioritize the protection and safety of law enforcement officers. He established a task force to reduce crime and restore public safety in communities. He signed an executive order to focus more federal resources on dismantling transnational criminal organizations such as the drug cartel that are coming across from Mexico. $137 million in grants through the COPS hiring program to preserve jobs, increase community policing capacities, and support crime prevention efforts. Enhanced and updated the Project Safe Neighborhoods to help reduce violent crime. Signed legislation making it easier to target websites that enable trafficking and strengthen penalties for people who promote or facilitate prostitution. Created an interagency task force working around the clock to prosecute traffickers, protect victims, and prevent human trafficking. He gave the order for Operation Cross Country to combat human trafficking, which rescued 84 children and arrested 120 human traffickers. That's just, folks, in the past 20 months. Encourage federal prosecutors to use the death penalty when possible in the fight against the trafficking of deadly drugs. His support for ICE is like no other president before him. And if the Democrats get their way, as you know, they would do everything in their power to remove ICE as a law enforcement agency. By putting 100% of his support behind them, it allowed ICE to do the following since his election. Rescue over 500 human trafficking victims, and over 900 children are being exploited in 2017 alone. Arrested more than 127,000 aliens with criminal convictions or charges. Now let's break that down a little bit. 76,000 of them were dangerous drug offenders. More than 48,000 of them were arrested for assault charges. More than 11,000 with weapon offenses. More than 5,000 were sexual assault offenders. And more than 2,000 were kidnapping offenders. And there were over 1,800 homicides, those that were arrested, over 1,800 for committing murder. He created the Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement, VOICE, office in order to support the victims and families affected by illegal alien crime. More than doubled the number of countries participated in the 287G program, which allows jails to detain criminal aliens until they are transferred to ICE custody. And as I said, and I will repeat myself, the Democrats would like all ICE agent employees to go to the unemployment line if they had their way tomorrow. Now let's talk about our national defense. He signed an executive order keeping the detention facilities at U.S. Naval Station Guantanamo Bay open. $700 billion in military funding for fiscal year 2018 and $716 billion for fiscal year 2019. He ordered a nuclear posture review to ensure America's nuclear forces are up to date and serve as a credible deterrent. Released America's first fully working cyber strategy in 15 years. New strategy of national biodefense, which better prepares the nation to defend against biological threats. The administration has announced that it will use whatever means necessary to protect citizens and service members from unjust prosecution by the International Criminal Court. Released an America First National Security Strategy. Put in motion the launch of a Space Force as a new branch of the military and relaunched the National Space Council. Now, I'm not quite sure what the new Space Force is going to do, but how cool would that be? Of course, I'm one that likes NASA and all things space related. Encourage North Atlantic Treaty Organizations, NATO, allies to increase defense spending to increase defense spending and agree upon the levels of the spending. For instance, in 2017 alone, there was an increase of more than 4.8% in defense spending within our NATO allies. And he signed an executive order to help military spouses find employment as their families deploy domestically and overseas. Veterans. To all you veterans out there, listen up, because here you go. Signed the VA Accountability Act and expanded VA telehealth services, walk-in clinics, and same-day urgency primary and mental health care. Delivered more appeals decisions, 81,000 to veterans in a single year than ever before because of his support for our veterans. Strengthen protections for individuals who come forward and identify programs occurring within the VA. Signed legislation that provided $86.5 billion in funding for the Department of Veterans Affairs, the largest dollar amount in history for the VA. Consolidated and strengthened VA community care programs, funding for the Veterans Choice Program, expanded eligibility for the Family Caregivers Program, gave veterans more access to walk-in care, strengthened the VA's ability to recruit and retain quality healthcare professionals, enabled the VA to modernize its assets and infrastructure, signed the VA Choice and Quality Employment Act in 2017, which authorized $2.1 billion in additional funds for the Veterans Choice Program. Worked to shift veterans' electronic medical records to the same system used by the Department of Defense, a decades-old priority. Issued an executive order requiring the Secretaries of Defense, Homeland Security, and Veterans Affairs to submit a joint plan to provide veterans access to mental health treatments as they transition to civilian life. Increase transparency and accountability at the VA by launching an online access and quality tool, providing veterans with access to waiting time and quality of care data. That's something very important. That's something that my organization, Veterans United for Justice, fights for as well. Making sure that everyone is aware of what's happening in the waiting line to get help. The Harry W. Comonary Veterans Education Assistance Act, providing enhanced educational benefits to veterans, service members, and their family members. Lifted a 15-year limit on veterans' access to their educational benefits. That's outstanding. Created a White House VA hotline to help veterans and staff it with veterans and direct family members of veterans. In other words, that's who's going to answer on the other end. VA employees are being held accountable for poor performances under this president than any other president prior, with more than 4,000 VA employees removed, demoted, and suspended to date. Signed the Veterans Treatment Court Improvement Act, increasing the number of VA employees that can assist justice-involved veterans. So, do we have a way to go? A ways to go? Yes, we do. Does this fix everything with law enforcement, with veterans, with our military? Not by a long shot. Is it one hell of a great start for a president on his first term to have completed what he has for our law enforcement agencies, for our veterans, for our military? You better believe it is. Our president believes strongly in America's defense, protecting you, the American public, helping out our allies, helping our veterans, and making sure that our law enforcement agencies have the proper tools they need to put away the criminal element in society. Those things together is what makes us a free country. Those things together is what gives us the ability to celebrate what we do as Americans. Are we any better than other countries across the globe? I don't know. Some of them think that they're just doing fine with the rules and regulations that they follow under their own government. But I say, I'm blessed to have been born and raised in the United States of America. And I'm blessed for having the opportunity to have served my country as a military member and a member of law enforcement. So we owe a debt of gratitude to those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice in law enforcement and the military to keep us free. Those are the people that I call a hero. Those are the people that have earned the utmost respect from me, and it should be for you as well. When you go to vote, whether it's local elections or state elections or for the President of the United States, think about our military, our law enforcement, and our veterans. And if there's a candidate that doesn't support those, 100%, you know what to do. Folks, that is all what makes us a free nation. And we should be very, very thankful for that. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, first responders, their families, our president, our country. I hope that each of you have a wonderful and blessed 2019. And I hope that you will continue to join me as I continue several times a week to put out these videos and to share with you what is the most important issues that we as Americans are faced with. Thank you. Have a blessed evening. And for now, I'm Douglas Ducote, and I'm out.